you're submitting a public comment, then it would need to follow that guideline on whether or not they're a resident or non-resident.
It just wouldn't be read aloud.
If it doesn't comply with that, then it would just be sent to the board and it wouldn't be read aloud.
Okay, so if they signed it concerned resident,
Then that wouldn't meet the policy as it's written, or as it's proposed, rather.
it wouldn't.
It wouldn't, because it's, concerned citizen, I guess, could be your legal name, but it's unlikely.
Concerned resident.
So as it is right now, if you're asking for a name and it's asking for a name and address, but if you're asking for a name and whether a resident or non-resident, then they would have to have some reasonable name and whether they're resident or non-resident. If they don't have both of those or whatever, then it wouldn't be read in public, but it would still be made public as a public comment.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I'm good with the name and then address optional, and then if you guys did add that, on there where it says, please state whether you are a resident or not. I mean, I think that would be ideal.
It's up to you guys on if that's what you want.
Sorry. Okay. Stated what I want to state.
Yeah, name and address optional. Wait, I can do that.
Okay. I would make a motion to approve with the amendment that we're asking for a name, address is optional, and they can also indicate whether they are resident or not resident.
I can second that.
We have a motion on the floor to approve resolution 2025-19, having the name, address optional, stating if they're a resident or not. It's amended. Second by Director Beatty. We'll have a vote. Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Green?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Okay, 5-0, no absent.
Okay, we'll move on. Item 5, this is
Sangster.
also continued from the June 26, 2025 meeting. Discussion on fluid resource management costs and prior board authorization.
So this item is a continuation from the June meeting where we provided the hours and the agreement. At that meeting was requested we bring back the costs and basically what they do. So there is an attachment to this that identifies the hours for water and wastewater under compliance, operations, and other for each month that we've been billed for since July of 2024. And against the hours, we have the cost that was paid by the district for compliance, operations, and others between water and wastewater. From July 2024 through what we've been billed for this year, the district's paid a total of $129,590.39, all in all to FRM.
That was, I think, over what time frame?
From July 2024 to the billing we received for June, or for May 2025, we have not received June's billing. We probably won't receive June's billing until near the end of this month or the beginning of next month. Part of what was asked for was a general list of the tasks that are performed by FRM and whether or not those tasks could be performed by district personnel. I'll just start this off with everything that I'm going to read off is something that we could hire somebody to do in-house. We do not have the current staff to do all these things today. We would have to hire 2, 3, or 4 more people to do all this work in addition to the work we have right now. Under regulatory compliance, we have ongoing review and update groundwater monitoring plan for the wastewater treatment plant, sampling training to our district staff, training on pH, DO, and other analyzers and probes, update sample collection points and frequency, update reporting to state agencies, prepare and complete annual reporting, volumetric reporting, drought reporting, air pollution control district reporting, our routine quarter and monthly reporting for water and wastewater, sampling at the wastewater treatment plant and throughout the water system, coordination with the lab to ensure proper sampling paperwork and sample bottles are available for each week, review sample results and work with the lab on discrepancies, assist with completing annual wastewater treatment plant reports to the state, assist with completing annual consumer confidence reports to the community and the state, review and ensure all data is complete and uploaded to the various state clearinghouses for water and wastewater reporting. That one's a fun one because every year they add one more thing that has nothing to do with anything else but uses the same information. So you get to have it put it in one more spot that nobody will ever look at. Regular meetings between FRM and the district general manager to discuss status and changes needed to maintain compliance. Under operations, provide training on chlorine analyzers and turbidimeters at all the wells, provide additional manpower for aerator cleaning, lift station pump replacements, clear transfer pipes, measuring sludge depths in ponds, and that list kind of goes on and on and on. Not everything is listed there just because it's kind of mundane. Provide staff for on-call as requested, provide staff for rounds as requested, provide staff to assist with pulling aerators and pumps, provide calibration for analyzers and meters, provide staff to complete various tasks that require 2 or more people to complete. That's predominantly what they do. And under special is provide assistance with sourcing companies to provide sludge dredging and pressing equipment and services. That's kind of a specialized thing that they're helping with right now. It's not really an ongoing thing. Provide assistance with reviewing and recommendations for changes to our SCADA system. Provide assistance with resourcing, getting quotes for replacing pumps and equipment. Assistance with setting up new chlorine pumps at wells. Work with district contracted firms to provide additional perspective and technical knowledge on projects that are requested. Has been discussed previously numerous times, the district currently has 2 licensed operators, myself and 1 other person, with 3 vacant operator positions. Assuming that the district had the allocated staff positions filled, so the 3 vacant positions being filled, we could perform the majority of this work in-house. There is a benefit to using a firm like FRM for compliance, as they have personnel that are specifically trained in compliance, and they only deal with compliance. So they're not dealing with daily stuff, they're dealing with compliance and compliance and compliance. Whereas if the district staff was to perform the same compliance tasks, district staff would be also performing other tasks that may not be as versed or up to date on changes that are consistently being implemented. On a regular basis, there's 3 to 4 FRM employees working on compliance for the district and 3 licensed operators working on normal operation activities with the district. So right there, we're getting 6 to 7 people. We're not paying full-time, we're paying by the hour for them. The district is only paying actual hours worked for these FRM employees as opposed to having the same 6 people on staff full-time. The district also benefits from the ability of FRM to provide additional staff if the district were to need assistance or provide other specialized personnel to assist the district as needed. Though it is not recommended to switch to a completely contracted model, the hybrid model we are currently operating under provides the most flexibility for the district at the lowest overall cost to the community. Again, from July 2024 through June 2025, not including the billing for June 2025, we paid $129,590 total to FRM. Approximately $20,546 in compliance, $98,790 in operations, and $10,253 for other special tasks. Conversely, if the district for the district to employ 1 mid-range fully licensed operator is approximately $125,580 for base pay, retirement, health benefits, an all-in cost. An unlicensed worker is approximately $57,844 for, again, the base pay, retirement, health insurance, and all that. So there is quite a benefit to using our firm. My personal goal would be to be in a position where we can find qualified operators and have them on staff, because it is more beneficial to the community to have those people here. However, in the interim and into the future, some sort of hybrid model is probably the best for the community, cost-wise and ability-wise. If you have any questions, or I'd be happy to discuss them.
Yeah, first, thank you for putting together the thorough information. It does cover exactly what I asked for, and I really wanted this brought to the board because it is a significant expense. The one we have in the packet in this month's financial report for April is $23,463.27. So when I wanted you to go back and pull the resolution, I don't see that there's any cap to the spending. There's not a not to exceed. There's not something that indicates there will be a budget adjustment for the next fiscal year of such and such amount of money. And again, it's a significant expense. It's in the top 5 every month because we're spending a significant amount of money with this particular firm. And I understand that they're filling a need that's not being fulfilled by current district staff people. So I agree, this is the most cost-effective way to provide the need, or to fill the needs that we have as a district for these utility operations, up to and including the standby time for on-call services. So I guess my question is how do we implement a not to exceed or a cap to what we're going to be spending with this firm? And right now, it's a blank check.
If that's the desire, I can put together a proposal for the board for a subsequent resolution to have a not to exceed amount based on what we've been doing and what we're projected to do. That wouldn't be a problem. And assuming that we get to the upper end of that, then we should know that in enough time to have that come back to the board.
When this was initially brought to the board and approved, you were more fully staffed at the time?
We had additional staff, but they were not licensed, so we still had the same problem that we have today. We just had more people to stand around. They weren't really standing around. I mean, they were learning how to do the job, but they were not qualified to work independently.
Understood. From a spend perspective, what is projected for fiscal year 2025 to 26? I don't remember what was in the proposed budget.
I believe last month when we looked at it, we were looking at approximately $180,000. And I think the discussion on what was originally discussed when the contract was approved was approximately $180,000. But again, I'm more than happy to go back through and provide a not to exceed under compliance and a not to exceed under operations that the board can consider and approve for this current fiscal year.
I don't think that's necessary. I just wanted everyone on board to be aware of it, and the public as well, what we're spending, and get your feedback as to what all the funds are going to. So again, that's was the first goal, which is achieved. If it's budgeted at $180,000, if we're going to exceed that, you'd have to bring it to the board anyway, correct?
So yes, if it's going to go over that by a couple dollars at the end of the year, it probably is not going to come back to the board because it'll be past the the mid-year budget adjustment. But we are consistently looking at our overall budget and our itemized budget throughout the year anyway. So as we get closer to December, when we bring it back for a mid-year budget adjustment, we can make sure to talk about it then, make sure the board's aware of where we are. And based on how we're moving, I am fairly confident that we're going to be within our budget. But things are constantly changing and evolving, so it may be different. But we can definitely look at it again in December, and if we look like we're going to be over based on our trajectory, then we can include that in the mid-year budget adjustment. If not, we can at least have a discussion and let the board know where we are.
Okay, is FRM its own individual line item in the budget?
They have two different line items. One is regulatory compliance and one is contract operations.
Okay,
So the compliance portion would be under regulatory compliance, obviously, and then operations under operations.
okay. To my satisfaction, we'll go into the rest of the board since I've taken all the time talking about it. Gentlemen?
I think part of the discussion with the board the last time was when it was brought up last year, or when we brought it up, is we didn't have enough personnel to fill the positions to take it over and had trouble filling the positions, keeping qualified people on. So that's one of the reasons why we approved what we did.
Right.
But I agree with having, at some point when it reaches the limit, to come back to the board. Sure.
Anything else for you? Gentlemen?
You got anything, John? Yeah, okay, so it says that you have 4 openings, for the treatment plant and water and so on. Now, does that mean we don't have to fill those openings?
So operationally, we would like to fill those openings, or at least some of those openings,
Yeah.
with the district staff. It is possible that we aren't able to hire those positions for quite some time, in which case we'll continue to use FRM or other contractors for those services. It is possible that at some point in the future, the board decides that they don't want to hire people, and we go to a full contracted model, and that's possible too. So right now, we are currently trying to hire personnel for those open positions.
Said 4, yeah. So we still got the one guy?
We have one operator and myself.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else? Do we have any public comment on this item? No? Okay. This was just discussion, so we'll move on. Item number 6, discussion on the dissolution of Stanleyville Community Services District and formation of an ad hoc committee for this purpose.
Do you mind?
Yes.
So it was requested by Directors Green and Davis to bring back a discussion regarding what the process is for dissolution of the district, as the topic has come up through at least one resident in the community and through the process of the fire department also discussing annexing from the district, essentially. And so what we have put together, staff has put together what they see as the pros and cons of dissolution for the district, and which is included in your agenda packet. And then legal has put together the process of dissolution. It's not a very complicated process. It's run by LAFCO. It can be started by petition of the residents. It can be self-started by LAFCO themselves, or it can be a petition by the district board of directors to dissolve the district. Once one of those initiation mechanisms is put in place, then notice has to be put out to the public and to other related agencies who would potentially be successor agencies to the services that this district provides. So in this instance, that would be CAL FIRE, County of San Luis Obispo, and any other potential, really probably the fire agencies around here that would potentially absorb that service if this district was to dissolve before the fire department annexed out on their own. Because they consider all the services as a whole. They also look at the reasoning for dissolution and the effect that it would have on the community. Those are not only economic effects, but social effects as well. They're looking at the greater good for the public and whether it makes sense for the district to continue on and providing these services, or if it makes sense for someone like the county to retake over those services again. So all of that has to be included in a report Typically, a district or a city who wants to dissolve hires a consultant to provide such a report. They analyze your financials, they analyze your socioeconomic conditions in the community, they analyze how it would affect the areas around this community and not just this community, and they put it all into a report and provide it to LAFCO. LAFCO then sets a hearing, a public hearing, and the community, the public, or even agencies surrounding can submit protests to the dissolution. If no protests are received, then LAFCO does not have to put it out to a vote to the electorate. They only have to put it out to a vote if a protest is received during the public hearing process.
And that protest is just 10%?
Yeah, so there are conditions for the protest which are included in your packet. Hang on a second, I'll go down to it. It's long. So it would be at least 10% of the number of landowners within any affected district, within the affected territory, who own at least 10% of the assessed value of land within the territory. Or at least 10% of the voters entitled to vote as a result of residing within or owning land within any affected district within the affected territory. I think you guys would qualify as the second point because this is a very residential heavy area. It's not like an agricultural area where most of the land is owned by like 10 to 20 people. And so it's not a landowner voter district where it's most of the land's uninhabited, right? Once that process goes through, if LAFCO determines that it is in the best interest of the community and the surrounding areas for the district to dissolve, then they prepare a certificate of completion, and then there's a transition to successor agencies. In this case, your primary successor agency would be the county. That would retake over all services because they're the ones who have delegated the authority for these services in the first place. That's the brief synopsis, but the entire thing is in your packet if you really want to pore over it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions on that process?
Questions, comments?
No comment. We seem to receive one letter, and then all of a sudden it's on the agenda, and we're talking about dissolving the district. It's sort of like the tail wagging the dog. Why do we move so fast, so far, with one letter being written? It seems to me that there should be more public input to say, yes, we want to do away with the district. They're not. I don't believe the public wants to do away with our district, that they want to keep our fire department, that they want to keep our sewer and water district. And for one person to be able to write a letter and get it on the agenda and talking about it seriously, I don't agree with that. That's my comment.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I think that if anybody in this community has a concern, something that they want addressed that's under the purview of the C.S.D., I think we should honor that. Which way we go with it is entirely up to the public, but I think if any one of you had a concern and you came forward with it, I think the board should address it. And I'd also like to say that this is all based on, nobody's trying to get rid of our fire department. I've been reading all this stuff on Facebook. They're trying to get rid of the fire department. Nobody's trying to do that. I want to see what Chief Young has started and hopefully can get accomplished. Because I think it's a brilliant idea. I've said that over and over. And it would be dependent upon his success before anything else is done.
Comments or questions? Comments or questions?
Well, this isn't a question, it's kind of but what I understand, and I'm not saying if I'm for or against this, but it was brought up, and I think the board should address it and then take it to the people. But there's a lot of misconception that this goes back to the county. The district would still have, whether you call it a board or whatever, and then the public could actually address whoever's on the board and take it to the county. So it isn't like you have to go down to San Luis to do anything.
If I understand what you're saying, that is not correct. There would not be a local board. It would be the Board of Supervisors that would be charged with anything related. I mean, this would be unincorporated county
Right.
with no service district. All the services would be absorbed by the county for the most part. I think fire is the only thing that might be accepted from that because there's so much fire agencies in this area that LAFCO may decide gets absorbed by someone else. But it would be the county, and the people in this community would be then going to the county for any of their concerns or problems unless the county formed like a local planning commission or something like that. But another entity would have to be formed by the county for that to be the case.
There would be a fire board.
If it was formed by the county.
If our fire department moves forward with what they're attempting to do,
Oh, yes, a partial
a fire board would
annexation.
be
Yeah.
created for oversight for that department.
Well, LAFCO would have to approve that process and decide what
But
that's going to work.
isn't that the way it goes?
It's
Isn't that
not-
their,
Not necessarily.
oh, okay.
It can be.
What would be the controlling entity over the fire department?
It depends on the proposal, the petition that's put forward by the fire department that wants to annex, and then also any of the surrounding agencies that would be potentially affected by that can also have a say in it. And then LAFCO really has the ultimate discretion to decide how the jurisdiction for that service is going to be governed and dealt with. It could be that it goes to the County Board of Supervisors. It could be that a separate board is put together. It just depends on how that plays out with what LAFCO believes is the best for the community.
I see.
Yeah, they have a lot of discretion.
Okay, any other board comments or questions? Anybody? Okay, how about public comment on this item?
Gregory G. Campbell. Let me give you a little clarification on the history of the San Miguel Community Services District. We talked about one person liking one person write a letter. One person started this district. It was me. I'm the petitioner. I wrote the petition. I went to 80% of the registered voters and got them to agree to the petition. Went to the Board of Supervisors with the help of Harry Ovid at that time, after we had gotten 80% of the registered voters, and the district was approved. Was there dissent? Yes, there was dissent. There was the vocal minority, similar to what we have now. There was the sewer board. I was sued by them. The county was sued by them. There was the fire board. Pretty much, I was the recreation of Satan. The Board of Supervisors approved the district, and here we are. The reason I'm asking you to consider disillusionment of this district now, times have changed. Our world has changed. We have a federal government that doesn't like California. We've thrown our politics in their face for a long time, and they're getting even with us. They're taking away our money. The state is broke. The county is broke. I don't want to be sitting here when we have a broke CSD. We don't have one now, but it's going to take a year to dissolve the CSD and blend us into the county, which is the larger organization that will survive. I just don't want to be sitting around when the CSD says, hey, we don't have any employees, we've got to contract everything out. Our fire department has gaps, we can't do that. I want to be part of the large organization so that we survive. You might not get the smiling face like you get now when you go into the office. Everybody's very nice, go in there and pay your bill, it's all great. But when a water line breaks, guaranteed you'll get 5 or 10 of 1,000 guys that work for the county and their equipment here fixing it. And when we have a fire, CAL FIRE will be here along with their 1,000 guys. They're not looking for mutual aid, they don't need it. They have everything. I want to be part of that organization. Is it going to be more money? It probably will. Is it gonna be more reliable? It certainly will. That's why I want the board to at least consider that. Let's take the emotion out of this. I can go back and pull up the emails from when this was formed. The same group, just different faces, but the same voices were in the audience saying, no, we can't do this, it's gonna be hell. There was lawsuits, everything. But look where we are. The district's done a great job. They have. They've done a really great job. But I think their time is past. And we need to look at the future. And we can't do it when it gets too late. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this item?
CAL FIRE, Greg mentioned, Gregory, what about reduced response time, increased risk to life and property? Is that taken into consideration? We've got a fire station right here, I mean, literally, a mile radius, so we can pretty much be there. Not only with that, but also medical emergencies. You know, they're gonna dispatch, they're gonna get somebody out there in case, you know, something of that nature occurs. Delayed response in fire, more time spent escalating from a control incident to a devastating blaze. Significantly induces the risk of loss of life, trapping residents, particularly children, the elderly, or those with disabilities, making rescue efforts more hazardous for firefighters. I mean, time is of the essence. Yeah, I know the world has changed and we want to consolidate it, but we have something here. Why do we want to dissolve something that's working? As far as I know, I haven't seen it not work. And the medical emergencies and other emergencies, they respond to, you know, a wide variety of incidents. No fireworks, no pun intended. You know, car accidents, technical rescues, natural disasters, whatever. I mean, it's my understanding they do this. Have I seen it personally? A couple of times, but you know, overextension of personnel and equipment. Going to have to cover larger geographical areas, leading to longer travel times between calls and potential exhaustion. I'm just worried about the response time. You know, CAL FIRE, it's far from here. I mean, I heard that perhaps Camp Roberts. I mean, well, what about Camp Roberts' responsibility to Camp Roberts? They're just going to say, oh, you know, San Miguel needs us, we're just going to come in and do what we need to do. I'm just not for this consolidation and the world's changing. I agree the world's changing, but I don't agree that's part of where we should be looking. That's all that's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Just weird talk. Okay, so I agree with you, Mr. Gregory, but we can't see into the future, so we can't tell what's going to happen in the future. But what we have right now is we have a fire